Welcome to Staffworks Explained. If you are here for the first time, please consider subscribing to this channel. Also, you can hit the notification bell so that when we upload new videos, you are notified. Also, watch other videos that we have done on various topics. In today's episode, we'll be talking about a huge infrastructure project that is expected to be constructed in Kenya, a road, an expressway, which will run from the coastal city of Kenya, Mombasa, all the way to Nairobi, a distance of approximately 500 kilometers. In this video, we'll talk about who is doing the project, what are the components of this project, the benefits that the project is expected to bring to the Kenyan and East African economy, the challenges in building this road. We'll look at a company that has been considered to do this project before, Bechtel, and also a Korean firm which was later given this project and what happened. We'll look at the intrigues, the American government factor and also the influence, the signing of the project development agreement and the significance of this, and whether it is a guarantee that the road will be completed. We also look at whether the competition from other means of transport, mainly SGR and the existing road, have been considered as the plan for doing this project are on the way. Time spent on the road by motorists between the coastal city of Mombasa and Nairobi is set to significantly reduce following the signing of an agreement between Kenya National Highway Authority and Everstrong Capital of US for the development of 4 to 6 lane dual carriageway of approximately 500 kilometers. The project anticipates attracting investment totaling US dollars 3.6 billion, which will be sourced from international investors, development agencies, pension funds, and exceptionally large number of Kenya private investors. Everstrong Capital signed the Project Development Agreement (PDA) with Kenya National Highways Authority (KENHA), authorizing the full development rights to Everstrong Capital and its partners. A statement of the project stated that the construction of the expressway poses no financial risks to the Kenyan government and it's structured to operate independently from the government of Kenya balance sheet and is projected to be financially self-sustaining. So this road, according to that statement, will be built through a public partnership model, and Kenya will not borrow to construct this road. According to Kyle Makata, the Everstrong Capital partner and Usahihi chairman, who also happens to be the immediate former envoy to Kenya, the Usahihi Expressway, which is the name that has been adopted for the highway, is not just a project. Kata says that the project is a testament to transformational power of doing things right. He adds that the expressway symbolizes passion, commitment, and transparency, demonstrating how to deliver immense value not only to Kenya's citizens but to the entire East African region. He adds that it is about changing lives and shaping the future of Kenya. Now let's look at the previous attempts to build those roads. We look at the Bechtel factor and also the Korean farm factor and what happened. It is not the first time that this road is coming up. Actually, the idea of building this expressway was mooted more than 2 decades ago. In 2017, Bechtel International Inc. was selected by the Kenyan National Highway Authority to construct the Nairobi Expressway with a budget of 230 billion. However, in 2019, the government suspended the construction of the expressway after Kenya reached its debt ceiling. In the words of Kyle Makata, whom we had mentioned before and was serving as the ambassador to Kenya at that time, we quote, "Bechtel and US government have remained fully engaged with Kenya and we continue to follow up on President Trump's and President Kenyatta's commitment to make the project a reality. But Kenya's debt is spiraling out of control. We do not want to pile up more debt on Kenyans. We want to do business transparently and ethically. Therefore, the onus is on the Kenya to put its debt in order." End of quote. The US-based company Bechtel revealed that it had declined to construct the road due to differences with the Kenya government over the financing model to be used. While speaking to an international news outlet, the company's spokesperson noted that President of Kenya Uhuru Kenyatta, who was the president then, proposed that the US-based firm fund the project and recoup its money in a toll-based model, that is a PPP model. He detailed that the firm declined the proposal, countering with the contractual-based model where the Kenya government would secure funds from another company or loan to finance the project. The spokesperson added that the company's priority was to provide the value to the public through an effective financing model that minimizes cost. He added that the project, if done through the toll model, would cost a huge amount of money, and this will put Kenya probably into more issues. He added that the fallout to the Kenyan government settling on Korean-based firm, Korean Overseas Infrastructure Urban Development Corporation, KIND, to take over this project. The firm has since undertaken a fresh feasibility study with various stakeholders in the public transport sector, including KENHA and officials from the Ministry of Transport. KENHA tasked the Korean firm to come up with the new plans regarding the traffic flow and sections of the road that is later to be made public by the authority at a later date. The differences in model types between the US and Kenyan government led to the project to stall for over 5 years. The initial agreement between the Kenyan government and the US government financial institutions oversee Private Investment Corporation (OPIC) for the project to commence was signed in September 2016. The road was projected to cost 300 billion Kenya shillings, and this was to reduce the time that people spend on the road and also connecting the two cities. The planned dual carriageway was to be divided into 3 main sections. One was to begin at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, JKIA, in Nairobi, and terminate at Kibwezi in Makueni County, stretching for 174 kilometers. The second section was to run between Kibwezi and Voi, which is 132 kilometers, and the third section was between Voi and Mombasa, which was to cover a distance of 160 kilometers. Then comes the Korean question, which we had mentioned before. So after the talks with Bechtel failed, it was reported in the media that the contract for the construction of the Nairobi Mombasa highway had been awarded to Korean Overseas Infrastructure and Urban Development Corporation, KIND. The Korean firm had presented a feasibility study analysis to the Kenyan government, estimating that the highway would cost upwards of $3 billion to complete and would take roughly 3 years. In August 2017, as we had heard before, the US company Bechtel had signed an MOU with Kenyan government to build the road between the capital and the main seaport city. However, the US company pulled out of the deal after the disagreement arose of how the project was to be financed. Given that Kenya is classified by IMF as being high risk in terms of debt distress, the country preferred a model where there will be no debt, and this is what Korean firm was proposing, a PPP model, public-private partnership model, which was to be used to finance this road. So Kenya wanted a build, operate, and transfer arrangement that would see Bechtel build the road with its own money and charge toll fees to recover the investment. The US firm did not agree into this, saying that the PPP model that Kenya was requesting would significantly increase the cost of the project by involving expensive borrowing and interest payments. Bechtel said that the PPP business model would cost 5 times more than $15 billion and would take much more time to complete. Consequently, the two sides failed to reach an agreement, and Bechtel pulled out, and this is when the Korean firm came in. So into this space entered the Korean firm, KIND, which intended to charge toll fees to recover the investment. In July 2020, the kind opened its fourth overseas office in Nairobi and the first in Africa. The Nairobi office was to be act as a facilitator, coordinator, and investor for the PPP projects in Kenya, including this expressway. The proposed road, according to the new feasibility study, was to start at Gitaru, which is some kilometers north of Nairobi, along the Nakuru-Nairobi highway. It's about 24 kilometers northeast of Nairobi CBD. Then it would continue southeasterly direction to cutting across Ngong, Ongata Rongai, Kisaju, Isinya, and then it rejoins the existing Nairobi Mombasa road just north of the proposed Concert City, passing through 9 counties to terminate in the city of Mombasa, and it was to have 19 interchanges. The intrigues continued with KENHA, Kenya National Highways Authority, later refuting reports that the contract for the construction of the proposed Nairobi-Mombasa Expressway had been awarded to the Korean firm. The Highways Agency clarified that the Korean Overseas Infrastructure and Urban Development Corporation (KIND) only presented a preliminary feasibility study for the development of the highway on the PPP model in July. In a statement, an agency official said, and I quote, "The KENHA would like to correct some misinformation that had been published and circulated in some section of the media regarding the proposed expressway project. The Korean firm had presented a pre-feasibility studies report for the project based on a PPP model on July 29, 2022, and they are open to submit a privately initiated investment proposal (PIIP) in line with the requirement of the law. The pre-feasibility study focused on demand, traffic, and affordability projections of the project." End of quote. KENHA further indicated that the American engineering firm Bechtel was working on a PPP structure for the model, dismissing earlier reports that the company had pulled out of the project. It added that the U.S. capital investment company Everstrong Capital had expressed its interest in developing the corridor in partnership with this U.S. firm, Bechtel. According to KENHA, then the construction of the project was likely to take 5 years to complete, and work could have been commenced upon completion of the studies, designs, negotiations, and closure of all financial agreements. Components of the project as planned now by the Everstrong Capital. According to the information which is available in the Everstrong Capital website, the Usahihi Nairobi Mombasa Expressway is poised to deliver significant time and cost savings to the users, but more notably, it will facilitate the secure, efficient, comfortable movement of people and goods within East Africa. The website says that Mombasa, which boasts modernized ports, serves as the primary gateway to East Africa and is experiencing remarkable annual growth rates. Nairobi, which is the second fastest growing city globally, stands as the Kenya economic epicenter. The Usahihi Expressway, therefore, plays a vital role in establishing an economic bridge between the two major cities in Kenya. Furthermore, this road serves as the inaugural segment of the Northern Economic Corridor, which links Uganda, Rwanda, and DRC to the port of Mombasa. This corridor heavily relies on road transport for freight movement, making it unparalleled in its potential to generate economic opportunities, not just in Kenya but also in the whole of the East African region. The new modern expressway between the two cities will improve transport safety. The expressway features safe overtaking lanes and rest areas strategically placed to prevent driver fatigue. Shrubs in the median will reduce glare from the oncoming lights, further enhancing roadway safety. The Usahihi Expressway will be designed to have minimal impact on the environment in its design and materials by minimizing stop fuel consumption, the expressway will contribute to reduced carbon emission. Solar energy will power toll plazas along the route, further promoting sustainability. The installation of electric vehicle charging stations will encourage the use of electric buses and other eco-friendly vehicles on the toll road, contributing to the greener transport system. Existing residents along the route will experience lower noise levels, as the road will have a 400-kilometer tree line from Nairobi to Mombasa, which will enhance the landscape. Specially designed animal crossing developed in consultation with wildlife agencies will safeguard local fauna and preserve the environment. The road from Mombasa to the main port of, which is the main port to Nairobi, currently has 2 lanes, and it's a dangerous road, as described by Usahihi, or the company which is by Everstrong, and the duration that it takes for people to move from the 2 cities is currently 10 hours journey, and this is expected to be reduced to about 4.5 hours. The project, which has been making for years but stalled due to a mix of factors, appears to be back on track with the signing of the project development agreement, which was done when President Ruto visited United States in May 2024. As a PPP project, Everstrong is expected, together with its partner in a consortium, to design, source for funds, and also build the road. It will also operate the road for 30 years, during which it will be charging motorists to use the road and recover the funds used in the construction and maintenance of the road. United States Ambassador to Kenya, Meg Whitman, said that the U.S. Embassy welcomes the signing of the Project Development Agreement, PDA, which marks a significant step towards the construction of the new highway. This stretch of the road is vital for Kenya's continued economic growth and new highway, and will be safer for all drivers, passengers, pedestrians who depend on this important corridor for work, pleasure, and living, said Whitman. Everstrong Capital will work alongside other engineering, procurement, construction EPC firms, which will include a leading South African toll operations company. Now that we have looked at the journey that this has taken, there are chances that this road will be built this time, given that there has been previous attempts to build this road, but they have all failed due to disagreement in terms of modes of financing and such kind of things. So one question that is being asked: what are the chances that this project will be completed this time? There are significant doubts surrounding the construction of the Expressway, despite the recent signing of the Project Development Agreement between Kenya and Everstrong Capital. Although this agreement marks a step forward, several factors cast doubt on whether the project will ultimately be completed. First, the project has faced delays since its inception in 2016, primarily due to funding constraints. A new agreement signed in Washington, D.C. grants Everstrong and its partner full development rights for the Expressway, described as the African largest toll road project. However, the history of toll project raises concerns. The 440 or the 500 kilometers approximately expressway, now renamed Usahihi Expressway, is projected to cost $3.6 billion, equivalent to 470 billion Kenyan shillings, and involves complex financing and also construction logistics. The project development agreement outlines that the project will follow a PPP model, public-private partnership, with revenue generated from the road users. This approach aims to alleviate the project financial burden on the Kenyan government. Everstrong Capital states that the project will involve financing, construction, tolling, and operation and maintenance for a period of 30 years, with construction expected to last 3 to 4 years. While this structure theoretically reduces direct financial risk for the government, it also introduces dependency on private, potentially volatile sources of funds. The project funding plans involves significant investment from American development finance institutions, Kenya private sector investors and pension funds, among others. However, securing such substantial diverse financing is risky and complex. The project advancement has previously faltered since 2016 agreement between Bechtel and Kenyan government, and this failed due to disagreement of the funding and repayment model. Bechtel ultimately rejected the Kenyans' offer to recover the money through the toll fees, citing the PPP model as prohibitive in terms of cost. Kenya preferred the PPP model as seen in the Nairobi Expressway, which is currently operating, and this suggests a strategic shift away from traditional funded infrastructure project. However, the Nairobi Expressway success, which was constructed by the Chinese company China Road and Bridge Corporation using its own finances, does not necessarily guarantee a similar outcome for this Usahihi Expressway, given the different financial, political, and logistical landscape which are involved in this project. In addition to the financial and logistical challenges, the project faces competition from the standard gauge railway SGR, which runs from the port all the way to Naivasha, and also there is the existing Nairobi Mombasa Expressway road. The SGR provides faster and potential more efficient mode of transportation between the two cities, which could reduce the expected traffic and revenue for the expressway. Moreover, the current road infrastructure, which is not as modern, is already serving a significant portion of the traffic between the two cities, and it's not sure whether the proponents of this project had considered these issues. Existing SGR, we have even an existing meter gauge railway, and then the existing road which serves the two cities. They envisage that there will be competition, and will they be able to recoup the money that they have used in construction of this road, given now that they have adopted the PPP model. Another critical factor which is not known whether it was considered is unpopularity of toll roads among the Kenyans. Previous experiences with toll roads have often met with public resistance due to added cost burden on motorists. This resistance could affect the financial viability of the expressway, as projected revenue from the toll fees may fall short if road users opt for alternate routes. Kenya preference for this suggests, as we have seen, is a shift from the previous model, where the Kenyan government does not want to borrow more to build an infrastructure. It's a good model, but it's posed with several challenges, which probably put doubt on whether this project will be completed. There's also the question surrounding the transparency of the deal, and this adds to the uncertainty. It is unclear whether there was competition in the bidding process for selecting first the Bechtel company and second the Everstrong Capital, and this raises concern about whether Kenya is getting the best deal. The absence of detailed information on how Everstrong was selected for the project leaves some room for speculation about the openness and fairness of the selection process. Ensuring transparency and competitive bidding is something which is crucial for the public confidence and also securing most favorable terms of the project. So it's not clear how Everstrong Capital was settled on, and also it's not clear how even the first company, which was Bechtel, was settled on to build this road. So in summary, we can say that the signing of the project development agreement with Everstrong Capital represents a formal commitment to proceed with the expressway. However, it is not a guarantee that the project will be completed. We have seen historical delays factor, we have seen the complex funding requirements, and also the competition from the SGR, MGR, and also the existing road infrastructure. Not forgetting the unpopularity of the toll roads among Kenyans, and the question about the transparency of the whole deal, especially when it comes to selection process. So these highlight some risks and uncertainties, and we'll be keen to watch how this unfolds, whether the project will be started, whether the funding will be available for the construction of the project for the period that has been planned, and also whether the project will be completed successfully. So thank you for reaching this far. If it's your first time here, please consider subscribing to this channel. Also hit the notification bell so that whenever you upload a new video, you'll be notified. Also watch other videos that you have done on this channel. Thank you.